welcome back to my kitchen. If you're new here, hi, my name is Marnie. I normally have makeup on and I don't look quite like this. Today I actually went and got a chemical peel called the Perfect Peel. I'll be documenting that and putting that up in a video that either already went up or not, I don't know. But anyway, if it is already up, I'll put it up in the eye and down in the description box. But tonight I am making one of my go-to kind of cozy, homey dinners. When the nights start getting chilly, a lot of us start thinking it's time to make soups, stew, crock pot meals, and that's all well and good, but to me, nothing says comfort like a big pot of pasta with meat sauce. Specifically, this recipe is called beef bolognese. I have shared it before, but I want to share it again. I just added some olive oil to a pretty deep pot, and I'm gonna let that heat up for a minute and we will start with the next step in just a minute. So the first thing we're gonna add to the pot is 1 finely chopped onion and 2 cloves of garlic, which I already have right here. We're gonna let that cook until the onions softened and slightly brown, so about 3 to 5 minutes over, I'd say medium to medium-high heat. Next step is to add your ground beef. You could add something else. I just get the 93% or higher meat, the lower fat content, and you just put that in. Turn your heat up to high. Break it up a little bit, and then you want to cook this all the way through till the meat is fully cooked and brown. You cook it right on top of all the onions and garlic. Our meat is nice and brown, so now my favorite part, adding the red wine. So I have a ½ cup of Pinot Noir. We're drinking some Pinot Noir tonight. I already cracked the bottle open, so I just put some of what we're drinking later with dinner in here. Pour that in the pot, give it a little stir, and then the idea is just to cook it down until you can't smell the alcohol smell, which is about a minute. Now the easy part, and one of the reasons why I love this recipe so much. You just dump all the rest of the ingredients in and cook it down for 20 to 30 minutes at minimum, or you could cook it 3 hours if you really have a lot of time to spare and go do something else. If you're cooking it on the shorter time, now's the time to get the pasta water boiling, put your salad together, and then it all comes together at once. As far as what's left, so this is where I go off recipe a little bit. The actual recipe, which is linked below in the description box, calls for a 28-ounce can of crushed tomato. I didn't have any the last time I made this. I just had 28 ounces of tomato sauce, and I actually like how it came out better. So just 28-ounce can of tomato sauce, no seasoning in it. It is not actually salsa, but here in San Antonio, most of our grocery store brand food has both the English and the Spanish. So salsa, if you didn't know, is sauce in Spanish. The other ingredients I've already put in here, and they include bay leaves, oregano, tomato paste, which is key. It really adds a richness of flavor, Worcestershire sauce, and beef bouillon cubes. But instead of beef bouillon, I've talked about this before, I use the better than, let me just get it, I'll show you. Let me just put it all in the pot first. Okay, while that's simmering, let me turn down the heat a little bit. You want it to simmer with no lid on. So what I use instead of bouillon, they have a chicken version, they have a beef version. I think they have a vegetable one as well. It's the better than bouillon jarred condensed stock. And you just scoop out, it's like a jelly-like substance. You just scoop this out. I think it's 1 teaspoon is the same as 1 cube or 1 can of broth. And you just have this in your fridge. It's so handy, so you never have to worry about having chicken stock or chicken broth or beef broth in your pantry. You just keep these jars in your fridge. They last a really long time. This one doesn't expire until the end of January 2022. So make sure that your pot is turned down so it doesn't bubble and get your whole stove messy. You just want a light simmer. I'm gonna set my timer for about 30 minutes, get my pasta started, and I'll see you when we're all done. So my sauce has been simmering for about 30 minutes. I finished making my pasta. The pasta I like is this Banza brand. And I really love this cavatappi shape. It's so cool. I'll show it to you in a moment. I'm just getting a big kind of slotted spoon. Instead of draining the pasta, I'm taking it right out and putting it in the sauce. I should have mentioned before you do that, you might want to taste your sauce at this point, decide if it needs a little salt and pepper. I already did that. We're all good. I'm keeping this pasta water because if I feel like the sauce has dried down a little bit or needs to be even thickened up, you can add the pasta water to make it a little more creamy. I don't think I'm gonna need that, but just in case, it's always good to have that pasta water to the side and not put it down the drain until you know you don't need it. These are the noodles. These are the cavatappi noodles. They're just a really fun shape and they really cling to the sauce and the meat gets in all those little coils and it tastes super good. Well, it's gonna taste good no matter what, but it's covered in sauce. This meat sauce can be used in a variety of ways. If you're making lasagna with meat sauce, you can use this as the sauce. You could, jar it up and freeze it. You don't have to use it right away. And I will say the longer it cooks, the better it tastes. One thing I also forgot to add, and all of these notes are in the original recipe that I'm sharing from, I think it's called Good Tin Eats. Sometimes tomatoes can get a little acidic, so have a couple teaspoons of sugar on hand if that's just basic white sugar. If you feel like your sauce is a little acidic, you'll know it when you taste it. Put a little bit of sugar in there at the beginning of the simmering process and that'll cut down the acidity of the tomatoes. I try to use Vidalia onions with this, which is a really, really sweet onion. So the sugars from the onion tend to cut that tomato acidity. That's one way to get around it. I should also add, I removed the bay leaves before I added the pasta as well. You do not want to eat a bay leaf. That's gross. All right, let me plate this up and I will show you the finished product. There you have it, your plated beef bolognese. I've sprinkled a little bit of Parmesan on top. A perfect bowl of comfort food for this time of year. I hope you enjoyed, and since it's daily December, I will be seeing you tomorrow. Bye.